Yeah, I think I agree with that. So, the gate has been lifted and our runners will be starting shortly. Yep, okay, and the runners are off, so we will very shortly see what required dungeons we have and which item will be on Fledge. What's your prediction, Jaznix?
I'm gonna predict. I'll predict a red rupee on Fledge, and then for dungeons, let's say LMF Sandship. I think that's the most likely combination at this point.
I feel like we have seen way too many of those seeds.
Heart contain or heart piece. So
And I think
that's
the
totally
runners are
pointless.
allowed to blame you if that's what it is.
Earth Temple LMF. So I got one of them right.
Apparently, Exo had to double check. But yeah, now Skyloft routing from here is like pretty standard. Like, you'll see the runners go off to check the practice sword, and there can be like small divergences, but overall, like for the first like 3 minutes or so, the runners are just going to be checking the same things.
Yeah. Sky or LMF ET is an interesting combination. I expect, like, if we look at these two, LMF is probably the longest dungeon to fully complete. It has because you have basically like three main areas of it. You have the boss key chest, and then the east and west wings, and full clearing LMF takes way too long. So usually that if you're in this situation, you'd want to do our Earth Temple first, and then kind of like be in go mode to go to LMF, but that might not happen this seed. I don't think we know what pillars we have right now.
Yeah, we'll see as our runners will walk, like, kind of walk around, and we'll see eventually which one. Doesn't look like it's Farron.
It's
Looks like,
Eldon.
yeah.
Gratitude crystals. Alright, so probably we'll see Betrow from Exto. I'm not sure. They might do a 5 single crystal cleanup maybe.
Both
Though I
runners
don't think
heading.
they're gonna do the modified route.
Yeah, both runners heading up to the goddess statue. Yeah, and I saw the Elden Pillar, so that just confirms that.
Both of them getting a heart container, so that'll make Horde a little bit easier, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's rare to not get any heart containers at all.
Evil crystal.
Yeah, and for those wondering, it's basically it's randomized as like rare treasure or semi-rare treasure, and that's why Exto and CalmDownSam got different things there.
Yeah, treasures are all in this like little pool, so basically a certain treasure will be like it could be any treasure in that pool. So like an evil crystal and a monster horn are in that same pool. So like those two could appear differently. I believe some of them are set though. I believe the tumbleweed always has to appear. Like I believe it's
Yeah,
always a check.
Well, yeah, because
So
in the base game, Phi has a specific text for the tumbleweed. So yeah, now runner's heading off to Rina. And Exto deciding to sleep before talking to Rina. Sam is probably gonna talk. Yeah. Now Sam has a decision to make because he could just sleep till night, which in fact he's going to do, so that he can talk to Petro immediately. Whereas Exto is going to do more Skyloft cleanup before talking to Petro. But I mean, that's an interesting decision because, like, in the last seed, we had like 20 crystals by the time we were done with the initial Skyloft cleanup. So,
yeah, that was a large crystal seed. Also, yeah, I'm interested in this play with the nighttime. I don't see this very often anymore, or not anymore, but I don't see this very often. I think Sam
yeah,
though, I think he's banking on not getting another crystal pack. I think, and I mean that could pay off for him, but usually I find I'll get 1 or 2 on Skyloft, and if I just don't get Betrayal 10. So interesting. What are we gonna see here? Oh, gratitude crystals. Well,
like, if there's a ton of gratitude crystals, it still might pay off for Sam because he might get to 30.
it is
But
true.
if he doesn't get to 30 on this first Skyloft trip, then going out of his way for the 2 singles at the end of this cave is probably going to just be a time sink.
Yeah, especially like the later one, you just get the beetle. Usually, if I get 10, or if you get 10, 30 is a long way away. So usually, like even if you get every single crystal, which normally isn't possible, you can't even get 30. So usually I'd wait on this, especially because of how much beetle speeds this up. You could
Yeah,
get these two in minutes. You could get them in like 30 seconds, which is incredibly nice.
and it still takes a while with the beetle, but at least you don't have to like run all the way back through the cave.
Yeah. Is Exto doing the sky immediately now?
I think he's just doing the loading zone manip. Yeah, so he's gonna land. Or oh no, he's not because he.
Oh,
Okay,
okay, so he's not
guess.
late.
Yeah, he's not really doing
Um,
the traditional loading zone minute, but he's going over to Petro. Oh, it looks like.
yeah. Interesting thing. We're probably gonna see Sam. He's probably gonna do his second bit, or if he hasn't already, he's gonna probably do his second Patrice talk with Peter. So it's at night. That one's like pretty lean. You could do that at almost any time. I think it's like up to 5 conversations you could have with Beatrice before you can talk to him. But you could. It's usually lean. You're gonna be at nighttime eventually because of how common patrol checks are. But um,
Yeah,
did
I
he talk to?
actually
Did he talk to him already? Because he didn't go talk to Peter. He might do on the way back though.
probably will do it on the way back. I'm actually intrigued by Exto's routing here. Like it's something that I never really thought about, but he basically had a he kind of like dropped off the ledge to land here and then slept in iDude's bed to be able to then get the pumpkin patch crystal on the way out. Like that is something I've never
Interesting.
considered doing before, but it actually makes a lot of sense.
That is an interesting route. Usually, I mean, you don't get like I guess he's probably gonna do Beatrice on the way back anyway. But that's an interesting route. I've never seen that. I Also we're gonna get Exto. He's coming up on his first patrol visit, so we're gonna see how this is gonna go. I think Sam he's gonna be following up really fast. So what do you got? Safe bottle.
There's the bottle opens up Oriel and the pair of
And
items.
Amber Tablet.
So I don't think they're going to be going to Lanayru right away because I think they don't have any B items yet. So I think the region that has the most open checks itemless is Eldon.
Yeah, it has a significant amount. Also, I'm quickly intrigued. What is Sam doing? Does he not know that there's not a Betrow reward at 20? Because I wouldn't be collecting these single crystals now. Unless
Yeah,
he's just trying to get them for later.
possibly. I wonder if he's trying to get up to 30, but I don't think he can with
You
the
can't get up to
crystal.
30.
Yeah, because he would have to basically find at least one more 5-pack.
Yeah. Also, Exto, he did his Peter conversation. Well, I'm really intrigued though what Sam is doing. He doesn't have anything that he would do in Academy either. He's just getting this check. Or he's getting this crystal. Which you could also just get when... You could just get that if you're doing like the toilet check. Or like if you're doing Colin's letter and so you need to go talk to the toilet at night. You could just do that then, and that would probably be faster.
I think Sam doesn't know that he can't do this
Oh.
without having the. He just realized,
Yeah.
yeah, he doesn't have the harp, so he can't activate that yet.
So, Exto... I think he looks like he's doing Oriel right now. Yeah, he's gonna go do Oriel.
Yeah, because that nets him 3 items, which is really powerful for basically just turning in a bottle.
Yeah. I also think he's probably gonna go talk to Dodo as well. Yeah, he's going out to Dodo to start that quest chain. I've talked to Exto, and he told me that he loves starting all the long scrapper quests really early on, because then because a lot of the time what could happen is you forget a check, or you forget to ask it, and then if you're an Elden and you never talk to iDude, that means, and you get claw shots, that's gonna basically mean you have to do an extra Skyloft visit, which is really slow, and you wanna try and avoid having to leave whatever you're doing as much as you can. So doing Elden in one trip is better than doing all of Elden, then flying to Skyloft, then going back to Elden, then flying back to Skyloft, and then getting whatever check he has. So I like the play from Exto for doing all the stuff early.
Yeah, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and it was something I was definitely saying in my last commentary on the previous race, because the runners delayed talking to iDude for so long.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess in that race in the end, it wound up maybe saving average a little bit, but still, you'd like to be able to do all the checks you can on your first trip. So being able to pick up the party wheeler, the crystal ball on your first trip is really nice. Also, scale from pipit crystals.
That's going to open up the Shed Crystals currently, and a Beetle on Exto. So I guess technically that would put the latter half of, or no, that would put Earth Temple, if he actually enters Earth Temple, that would put all of Earth Temple in Logic, right? Or besides bombs, but that's a good thing, because that would put the rest of it in Logic. So that's a good thing to get early.
Yeah.
You could also hit Beetle's Bell now, which is pretty cool. Exo, he's gonna do the single lumpy check. He's gonna do the chandelier.
Yeah. We'll see what items on it. it's this is kind of like a thing where you just hope that it winds up being junk. And Exto
Uh,
taking advantage of this to get an extra sleep in.
is he doing this intentionally? I would think he'd sleep tonight to get the crystals, but I guess sort of that makes sense.
That is
That's a
a
golden skull, I think.
yeah. Uh,
Why is he doing this?
I think he thought it was something else, or he couldn't quite tell what it was. But yeah, this is unnecessary.
Yeah, he's gonna get a lot of text. Though, the only other thing I could... I don't know, there's no point to doing that if you know what it is, so... Because,
Yeah.
like, Spiral Charge takes over it. Ooh, Beetle's Insect Cage. Oh, so that's actually interesting now. If Sam... I expect if Sam does the early Oriole and Paro check, that'll mean he could do Beetle's Crystals. So, that's another early logic check.
Yeah. Also, Monka calibration on Sam's side.
Yeah. Also, yes, you could buy the bug net now, so that fills a check mark in my book. So I'm really having trouble with the stamina fruit. Oh, he's entering Malara.
Find it interesting that he's sleeping in Malara's house, because that's going to give him an extra text box.
Yeah, it's gonna give him this little text. So Exto, he's entering Elden. This is definitely the right play here. He's checked basically everything else. It looks like he doesn't have the Collins letter, so that also doesn't open it. So like, there's nothing else he could do on Skyloft, unless it's not. I don't know. This is not. It's not on this track.
Yeah, it's not on this tracker. Do you remember where Colin's letter was?
I don't.
Oh, it was on
Betro.
Betro. Has Exto... Did Exto wind up going to Betro?
He did.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so he should have it.
Wait, no, it wasn't on
Betro also
Betro.
had the bottle.
No, it's on Betro. Sam's doing Betro right now. It wasn't on.
Oh, right.
I expect Sam, he's gonna be doing the same, this is probably the same route as Exto's gonna be doing in the sky. He's probably gonna go to Oriole pretty soon. I don't think... What is that on top of it? Is that another golden skull?
Yeah, it's another golden skull. This seed apparently likes to have all the freestanding items be golden skulls.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is that you actually got to tell what it is. Exto, that's a golden skull. No. Exto, no. Interesting bomb throw from Exto.
Yeah. And he whiffed and then he just left.
Nah, it makes sense though, actually. Because otherwise, I believe the Pyrup would have just destroyed him there. The Pyrups here are really mean for some reason if you don't hit the first try. Though,
Yeah, I guess
there's like a
that's
setup
fair.
I'll usually use. Fire Dragon Song of the Hero, so... Song of the Hero required, question mark?
Well,
Exto.
we won't find out for a while, and Exto making some uncharacteristic errors.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, what I say about this Pyrup just destroying your day. Like... No. Okay, he's fine. No! X.
Well, we'll just call this a very elaborate cutscene skip for a cutscene that's already skipped in the
Yeah.
Rando.
We could call it that. I wonder how many times that's happened. I swear I see that a lot now. pirate like getting destroyed on that bone bridge.
Yeah, the Bone Bridge for some reason has become the arch nemesis of all rando runners.
Yeah, it's rude. It's been just ruining so many dreams.
And the worst part is like you die and then you have to start all the way at the beginning of the area because it's like it really makes no sense to save at Volcano East, which is the only way
Yeah.
you could avoid that. And like that is like you don't want to take that save, so you're just kind of stuck there.
Yeah, it's rip. It's due back in time. You're at 2 crystals. I believe that now would put Patro 30 in logic, which might look like the play soon, because there's been no main progression items so far in Elden, besides Song of the Hero piece, which is Song of the Hero piece. Golden Skull.
Yeah, this is very blank. It's very reminiscent of your seed from the other day, where just like no B items show. Well, I guess we've seen a B item,
I've
but
seen a beetle, but that's probably one of the most useless B items if you're not in dungeons.
I mean, it's nice that we're getting one early at the very least because like Hook Beetle is one of the requirements just to be able to enter LMF,
Very true.
let alone do anything in LMF. So yeah.
Also, so more gratitude crystals on Exto's part. That's I bet he's gonna go do Patro 30 right now. Since he's out of, there's only one check he could do that's outside of Patro 30, which is the I believe, I think it's the chest inside. It's the one chest in mines in Linear. So I think Patro 30 is a logical play right here.
Yeah.
Ah, nice
Getting
pirate
a
cutscene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's Beatrice as well, but I don't want to hear the word Beatrice ever again after that race.
Yeah, well, there's still a huge chance that the progression may be on Beatrice.
Yeah. It's the Spear Zero check that's just really long and really dumb, but also usually really good. Also, um, something I would have expected Exto to do. Actually, I guess I don't think a lot of people actually do this, but the thing I like to do really early on is do the Earth Temple Door RBM. I would have done the Earth Temple Door RBM immediately as I entered Elden. Like that's what I'll usually do. I'll just take damage on the Chew. Um, it's interesting because doing Earth Temple soon is literally out of logic due to you needing 5 keys, and the 5 keys are all logical checks, right? Or like they're like progressive items, so they get appear in Silent Realms. Like Earth Temple seeds are full of required Silent Realms because that's where half the key pieces are lying. So um like currently I expect when both players enter Earth Temple, it's gonna be technically out of logic at that time.
Yeah. Like, neither of these runners is gonna wait to get all 5 key pieces before going into Earth Temple.
Yeah, it's just so much of a commitment. Also, Sam doesn't look like he's gonna go by the bug net. He's getting DQ'd from the tournament for this. So I think Sam's doing. I was talking about this earlier. He's gonna do the beetle check, which is. I expect this is gonna be a very good item since this was like a double early thing he could have done. I really like Stowe. He's going to do Conslay right now. Kill the bugman. Ballad of the
Ballad.
Goddess. So that is not a required item, but that is a progressive item. So I expect Sam is gonna go there soon. Sam hasn't been to Elden, but there's not gonna be really anything in Elden for him, so
Yeah, so
it
there's gonna be basically 2 checks that he can do in Thunderhead, because Ballad of the Goddess opens Thunderhead,
yeah.
and one of them being a chest on like the rightmost island, and one of them being being one of the Isle of Songs checks. Uh,
Yeah.
and then there are 2 others that he cannot get right now because he does not have the sword upgrades.
Yeah, and then there's also Levias, obviously. There's like Levias, but we don't have Spiral Charge.
Yeah. And our runners are going to hope that nothing is on Levias.
Yeah, if there's something on Levias, it's just automatic feels bad, man. The seed it just makes the seed terrible.
CalmDownSam Sam landing on the roof of the Lumpy Pumpkin, going to be disappointed by what he finds here, but maybe also partially relieved that it's nothing and that he doesn't have to bonk down the chandelier. And Sam gains a few seconds, or closes the gap by a few seconds by realizing that's a golden skull and not bonking down the chandelier. So yeah, at this point, Sam is kind of on the opposite side of the world from where the Thunderhead is, so I don't think he'll be going there quite yet. Looks like he's heading towards Elden. Also, Sam, not realizing that with the increased Loftwing speed, the zippers actually slow you down. So Sam's going to be repeating the same checks that Exto just did.
Yeah.
Sam getting owned by the fire chews there, but still making the lava cycle. I mean, the lava cycle is there. Sam also blowing open the wrong boulder, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, though he knows this one is the right one. I think he probably just did it accidentally.
I think he knows now that he did the wrong one, because that fire chew is not the exit.
He found a friend, not the exit. Also, Sam is checking the Volcano statue, though he didn't save. Also, Exto, he's probably gonna beeline to Beetle right now, since he just got his Beetle. And 3 Beetles so far. Beetle, and his Beetle.
Yeah, but looks like Exo's first gonna make a stop at Petro. Interesting pathing from Sam here.
Din's power not too important from Exto.
Yeah, I think that is a relief for Exto, because Elden Trial is another check that nobody really wants to do.
Yeah, it's one of the largest commitments, right, in Rando. Since I believe it's definitely the longest trial. It's one of the longest checks. Oh, Neighborhood Wisdom's not too important either. Somewhere Specs is crying.
Yeah, Specs, it wouldn't. Yeah, Specs is glad he's not commentating this seed. with the lack
Sam
of
having
silent realms, or required silent realms.
Ooh, I want to overseed. Maybe I should roll the next seed.
I cannot imagine the horrors of a Jasnik seed.
I should do that. I mean, what it's Specs had a decent seed. I could probably have a really bad seed. I wonder, will it be worth? Actually, no. I have rolled a seed before. I rolled a spoiler log seed, and it was actually really good. It was a really fun seed. So I'm not that bad right now. But I don't know. I haven't rolled a non-spoiler log run, or one. Also, the one I rolled was 69, 69, 69, 69. So
I don't know if it counts as rolling the seed at that point.
ADN was the one who created the seed for me versus for the me versus harm race. So I blame him. Blame him. Oh,
Except we're on ZSR, so aren't we supposed to blame Trez?
breaking conventions sometimes. So still yet to see Forest Courage. We don't have the harp. Technically, you can get into Fair and only, or no, you get into Fair and Elden Silent Realms without the harp, be with reverse bit magic. But since so far Elden's completely useless and Farron, we don't know yet. So I doubt we're gonna see any of that. And if we do get the harp, then maybe one trial if one actually gets said to be useful.
Sam running into an ornamental skull in the text box, taking away his Skyward Strike charge. Because text boxes have insane priority in this game.
I think is that Exto on his 6th Pietrus conversation? That's number 6.
Yeah, looks like Exto has been really going after that check.
Well, no. Fair and back in time. Any form of any back in time that goes off of Skyloft is banned in randomizer. Mostly due to it basically being able to bypass most of the problems we have with the seed. I believe like you could skip some like can't I don't know exactly, but like you could skip a lot of requirements, so it's way too powerful for Rando. And I think it could also just bypass like required dungeons and stuff. So there's no way we're gonna add it unless it gets like heavily nerfed. So yeah, right now no fair and bit, no matter what. Also, I don't think Exto got harp. I think he got Battle of the Goddess, which shows a harp, but that's just a song. So I don't think he got harp.
Yeah. Yeah, at least for now, all of the songs just use the harp model, because there's no other model specific for the songs.
That's true, CJ. Though I personally believe that or at least personally, I don't think it would be as interesting with with Fahrenbit, because then you could just opening LMF would be so easy. You just get a Fahrenbit file and just do the RBM there. It's- ACR video
Yes.
would be cool, but we have Sister and Clip, so honestly, who cares? We're gonna see what Petrus has.
I mean, we got close to seeing Full-Fledged Stamina Potion quest in one of the seeding races, but it wound up not being required. I forget who
Beatrice
it
is vanilla. Woo. Does that make 4 times in a row?
Well, probably close to it. Like, yeah, I know. Yep. Yeah, Beatrice was vanilla in the last race too. Exto really needed to see where the bazaar was, but is gonna head off to Linearu probably, unless he heads to the Thunderhead. It's one or the other.
I suppose he's going to Thunderhead. That would logically make more sense to me. Or not? No, he
Yeah,
just
I mean it's 2
debated.
checks
Wait,
versus 1,
no. We
but
got debated.
well,
He's going to Linear.
the thing is there are a few checks you can get in Linearu out of logic, so he may be kind of banking on that. Or just banking on this first just having something. Because I mean, at this point, we have found all of about nothing.
Yeah, this is very few checks. Sam's also going to the sky. I hope he's going to. Yeah, no, he looks like he's going to Thunderhead. So this will be interesting. Because Sam could potentially get a really large lead, or not a large one, but he could get a lead here if he gets like bombs or claw shots right here. Because he would be able to check the rest of Linear, and if Exto does go out of logic, that would mean like unless the rest of Linear was like useful, like if Sam got claw shots and then went to Sansy and Sansy was just stacked, that would be really good for him.
Yeah. Well, you know all about the perils of going out of logic from
Oh yes, I
your
do.
race the other day. I mean, the biggest peril being that Specs will non-stop talk about how you should have stayed in logic for like 40 minutes.
Just just don't mind my gameplay. I'll stay out of logic as long as I want. It's my choice. Then I mean, hey, I've been practicing rando. I'm not gonna go as far out of logic. Hopefully.
Exto flexing by collecting a rupee with the beetle while in the minecart.
Yeah. Also, so Sam, he just got fire. Well, Exto wins. He just got bomb bag, which means the rest of mine is in logic now. So, um,
Yeah, this is like one of those rare times where it's like where going to Lanayru winds up being the correct play for the seed.
yeah, it didn't make any sense. Going to Elden first was actually worse. Wait, Exto, what are you doing? Exto, what are you doing?
I think
Okay,
Exo was like considering just leaving and going back to Elden, but then realized that that also opened up a bunch of stuff here.
Yeah, that opens up what? 2 checks in mines and then
Yeah,
like 5 checks in Linearu.
yeah.
Actually, um, nodes are in logic as well because he got beetle, so that's he's probably gonna do nodes as well, assuming he does the break slides.
Well, nodes aren't in logic yet because you would need hook beetle, well, or claw shots to get there, because the break slides aren't in logic.
Does he need hook beetle for temple? Like, does temple of time require hook beetle? I thought it just required
Yes.
the beetle. Oh, okay,
It
then it's
requires
not.
hook beetle because you have to drop a bomb into the time shift zone, like in the center thing.
Well, screw it, Exto. Just go out of logic anyway.
I mean, he very well may. Like, I think, yeah, like Exto is definitely very confident in his brake sliding, and will definitely be able to just be able to do the like big Temple of Time skip brake slide very easily.
Yeah. Also, Sam, I think it took a little while for him to do that puzzle. I wasn't watching him. We're gonna see what's for his courage. The still could be good for Sam. Like, assuming he finds, if he finds, like, claw shots, that's still a huge lead for him. So, it's not over. Like, it's not, uh, well, Song the Hero.
I somehow thinks that was not quite what he was hoping for.
Definitely. Wow.
Wow, we're
Stacked with
almost
crystals.
at the 50 crystal mark.
Yeah, I expect Exto might go for it next Scala visit. If assuming he's just to get more crystals. Calling Fee for a reason. I expect Sammy's gonna go to Lineator now. I don't think there's another check heat that opens up now. Because the rest of Elden's still not accessible.
Narrowly, so not in logic. You could do an RBM to blow up the boulder, but then you're completely out of logic.
Yeah. Wow. Sam's getting destroyed by these tornadoes.
Yeah, he got destroyed by one on the way in, and with the increased Loftwing speed, it comes with the disadvantage that you can barely see the tornadoes coming if you can at all, and so it's way more difficult to dodge them.
Yeah. Also, Sam's back on Skyloft. He doesn't look like he knows what he wants to do. Fire shield earrings. Fire shield earrings open up the volcano summit area, so no, like for this seed currently, it opens up 2 checks because only 2 checks exist in the volcano summit. They are required to access the fire sanctuary if that was a required dungeon.
Yeah, but since Fire Sanctuary is not required in this seed, there will be nothing of value in it.
Yeah, fire shield earrings are a very they're kind of a nice item to have, but they're usually not as too useful. So Exto has 50 crystals now, so he could max out Petro. This might be the fastest I've ever seen someone get 50 crystals.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing with is we have definitely seen in a lot of these past races, Volcano Summit have an important item.
Yeah.
So if the runners see Fire Shield Earring, is like that's going to start wearing on the back of their mind. Although right now they are incapable of doing either of the checks, even if they had earrings.
Yeah, they require either dignity or bombs to access either the end of Lineator or end of Elden, which allows for it. Interesting Boko fight happened. Exo, he threw the bomb, but it didn't seem to kill the Bokoblin.
Well, what happened was he accidentally targeted the Bokoblin in the cage when he did the Skyward strike. So then I think the Bokoblin still had iframes from that Skyward strike when the bomb exploded.
Ah, I see. Let's see what the Hug Beetle check is. A sword. So wow, this plays went really well for Exto, because now he's gonna have an extra check-in Thunderhead. So that's gonna add something that Sam's not gonna have. Another key piece. So wow, this has been a pretty stacked Lineator. And a sword is required anyway for the ending of the seed. So Exto's one item closer to go mode. So Exto, he's gonna go for the Temple of Time skip. So he's gonna go out of logic for a little bit, though. I honestly respect this play. I think this is totally worth it. Be careful with this camera, because he doesn't want to, or he did trigger the Ampulus, but if you're not looking at something in this game, it doesn't exist, so that wouldn't have triggered the Ampulus, which would have allowed him to avoid it. Well, Vias having claw shots would be unfortunate. Now, 64, do you want to explain brake sliding?
So basically, in a brake slide, you are running, and then in a single frame, you switch to holding Z and slightly back on the control stick, basically right outside the dead zone, which gets referred to as ESS position because of Ocarina of Time. Uh, and it basically causes you to shuffle with basically maintaining your speed. And it's useful in Sink Sand because your speed reduces far more slowly than it would by just running, and also won't consume stamina. So yeah, winds up yeah, so it winds up being really useful in Linearu specifically because it allows you to get through Sink Sand really quickly.
Yeah, which allows for a small sequence break there. Dodo had 5 gratitude crystals, so those are completely useless at this point. Since Exto has more than enough gratitude crystals. Um, Sam's not doing Linearu, which is really bad for him. Linearu's the play, though I think he doesn't want to commit to it right now.
Yeah, I mean, to him, it's one check that takes forever. We know that that check is insanely worth it, but unfortunately, Sam does not.
Exto know the backup for this. I have a backup strat for this. I don't know if he knows it. Okay, I think he does. Yeah. You could do a little bit of cool platforming here, and you could essentially just get to this chest like without having to go back to dive for it. It's faster than having to dive for it again. And you get Spire Shield earrings. So those are now in logic for Exto because he has the bombs. So he will probably do a big cleanup of Elden soon. And Sam's still going for Beatrice, so he's gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, although, I mean, with the Fire Shield Earring still doesn't open it up anything for him without either Magma Mitts or Claw Shots. And in Elden, because he doesn't have Digging Mitts, he has one more check. Well, he has 2 checks in Magma Turf and then one more at the Volcano Ascent area.
Yeah.
So
Quick thing, to beat a Skyward Sword Rando Seed, you need beat the 2 dungeons, get the Master Sword, and get the Harp. And if you do those requirements, you're done. And then you just have to go beat him 2, and then you have to beat him 2 and do the final boss fights, and you're done. Also, Spiral Charge, interesting.
yeah, so that opens up 2 checks that are on breakable rocks in the sky, and it also opens up Levias.
Yeah, it opens up the thing. Although yes, the Triforce places are the required dungeons. So this seed, it's Earth Temple and Linear Mining Facility. Oh my god. So I expect Exto. He's probably not gonna pick up the pumpkin soup, though. It's probably a good idea to soon activate Levias. He doesn't need to fight him, but it's nice. Like if he gets like another sword soonish, he'll probably get the pumpkin soup and then do the Levias check, or not do the Levias check. He might just activate it and then leave. Levias is one of the longest checks in the game. It's like 7 or 8 minutes, but it's also usually it's a really good check usually a good check because so if it's useful, the other player's probably not going to check it for a while. Like some people just don't check Levias at all, which is pretty important to know.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like on Exto's side, like he probably just wants to just try to clear as many checks as possible and just rely on the fact that he overall is a mechanically stronger player.
Yeah.
And it's probably like it. So it's basically because Exto, being a former 100% world record holder, like he has very strong mechanics. And it's not to say that Sam is bad or anything, just that there there's still definitely a gap in it's just a mechanical gap that's just gonna exist.
Yeah. Back in time is limited for Scouts and Rando. It's allowed, but accessing the Sky or Farron in back in time is banned. So it's all only allowed in limited forms. This seed looks like it's not gonna have any back in time, though. Or no, it will, but it's gonna have very few. Also, interesting. Exto got Slingshot and the Gust Bellows from Betro. The Slingshot is completely useless in basically everything because it gets as soon as you get claw shots, it's completely worthless, and Beetle already kind of makes it irrelevant. But Gust Bellows opens up a few more checks, and that is a required item to complete LMF. So that is good he got it. That's one more item to check off the list for required items.
Yeah.
And the
And the
bow.
bow. So just like another way to obsolete the slingshot.
Though the bow's not too useful either. It's only really useful in Sandship because the bow doesn't have any it doesn't unlock really anything. It just kind of exists.
Well, I mean, with the fact that our runners have the beetle, sure, it doesn't really unlock anything. It unlocks some of the things that the beetle otherwise would, like the ropes for the drawbridge in Earth Temple. Although
True.
both of
Though
these runners should be able to do the key strap, but they're probably not going to because they can do it faster by just using the bow.
I don't want memories of that key strat. Just don't even remind me of it. The beetle's slow, but the bow, when in terms of unlocking stuff, it gets kind of irrelevant when compared to other things.
Well,
Yeah.
Exto just unlocking B item after B item after B item. Now we have the whip. I mean, the whip will speeds things up in LMF. In particular, in the first room, being able to whip the levers that allows you to skip some otherwise required use of the hook beetle. And the hook beetle is rather slow.
Yeah, though, again, on an item that is too revolutionary in the seed. The main item we really want is Claw Shots. In Rando, in general, the Claw Shots is the best item. It unlocks so many checks. And it allows you to basically skip most of all of the areas. Like, you could skip most of Farron Woods, you could skip most of Linearu. Not much in Elden, but it's still really useful. So, getting claw shots early is usually the sign of a baby seed or just a really fast seed. But so far, no claw shots.
Yeah. And then to beat the game, we're gonna also need Emerald Tablet, because we need to be able to access the sealed grounds.
Sure. They could also just beat Skykeep, but let's not do that.
Well, not in that got patched a long time ago. Like beating
Oh, did it?
Skykeep just puts you back on Skyloft.
Darn it, that was my plan. I was actually planning to do that if I had the chance, but I guess not. Kinda sad. And another sword.
Not gonna lie, I was half expecting that to be Emerald Tablet with the comments about me willing items into existence in the last race.
So, I don't agree with this play from Exto. I don't know why he didn't do Volcano Summit. I would have just save scummed it, but he's just not doing it.
Well, what can he do in Volcano Summit
Oh
with
right,
both claw shots
he
or
doesn't have
magma
claw shots.
mitts? I mean, the one thing he could do is RBM his way into Earth Temple, but I mean, the thing with that is that, so I believe the runners have found like 2 or 3 key pieces, and thus it's likely that the Earth Temple is fairly late in the logic of the seed, so you're not as likely to find items you need in there.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you could, on the other hand, like, it's still a required dungeon, so you need to beat it at some point.
Yeah, like it
So
wouldn't
if,
matter too much to do it now. But
yeah, and like, and it's not even that, like, yeah, I don't know if I agree with Exto activating Levias here. Like, I would personally just God and Earth Temple out of the way, because there's only one check that he can't do right now. That's at the very beginning of the dungeon, and he has bow and he has bombs, which basically trivialize everything.
yeah, though to be fair, what else? What other checks does he have on logic? Because he, I don't think any of the rest of Linear is in logic currently. No, I guess nothing else in Elden's really in logic. So like, I think logically this is one of the better plays
Yeah, I guess
because
this is
he doesn't go
following
to
the
Thunderhead
logic.
either.
Yeah, because I'm
Yeah,
trying to
I
think.
actually agree with Exto doing this right now. I think this is probably the play.
Yeah, I guess he's heading back into Elden.
So
Okay, that's interesting.
Sam's gonna is really mad right now.
Yeah, that's a feels bad when you get all of your when you like check basically everything else and you last location and item like bomb bag.
Yeah. Yeah, he's mad. Also, Exo, he's gonna be doing the reverse bit magic to enter the Earth Temple, so so interesting routing, to say the least. I would have definitely done this in the separate order. I would have done this first, but I'm not sure why Exto wanted to go get the soup right now, but interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know if I could judge people though. I'm not the king of routing myself.
Well, yeah. For reference, the specs commentary on the on like the race the other day. Okay, so Exo is making a corrupt file there so he made a copy of his file and then he saved it while the file was in the process of deleting. Did he? Okay, Exto didn't load his water dragon scale into back in time, so he has to cross the bridge.
It's not too much slower. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So he's gonna enter this house just because it happens to be closest to the graveyard. And now he's gonna sleep tonight, and then he's going to leave with the corrupt file that he just created. So the corrupt file is a file whose values are all zeros, and so it's in an early game state without the hero's tunic, which means that going back out to Skyloft is not going to crash. So now he's on nighttime Skyloft in bit, and now he's going to start his file and then push the gravestone. And that's going to activate the cutscene of the shed opening, but in Elden, that is going to do something different, and we will see that momentarily.
Yes. Also, Lippe actually has a really good point here. If claws are in Earth Temple, that means that he can't get the crystal ball because he has the soup, which is actually kind of a really big flaw with Exto's routing here.
Yeah, That's kind of one of the other reasons why I like. Yeah, I kind of. Yeah, this is one thing that I'm not entirely in agreement with. So now Exo is going to be trying to hit this tower from the back by trying to precisely time this bomb throw, which he does first try. And about the only
5
thing he
flashes or
can...
something.
Yeah. So now he walks towards the Earth Temple, and the cutscene of the doors opening immediately activates because uh, basically the shed opening and the Earth Temple door happen to share the same flag in the game's like per area uh, array of flags. So that allowed him to get into Earth Temple without having all 5 key pieces.
Yeah. I want to quickly shout something out for Exto. He did a really cool thing where he did a cutscene skip with an arrow. He basically just jumped from the top platform down and with an arrow. It was really cool. And then when he went for the second cutscene skip, he bonked on the stairs. So it was smooth until that.
Yeah, Earth Temple has a lot of little cutscene skips like that throughout. Although pretty much like every Skyward Sword runner hates this dungeon. Just because like there's a ton of ways you can lose time, and it just otherwise just like not terribly interesting.
Air Temple's one of the more bland dungeons in this game.
So Exo's going to be doing another instance of Back in Time here. So basically the bridge in the back there is currently lowered, and ordinarily you'd have to do this long section where you have to roll the boulder through this huge lava area to go all the way around to the other side where he can push in the pegs, but he's going to skip all that.
Just noticed, Sam left Lanero. He went to Petro? So I think he's gonna double dip in Lanero.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I guess I wasn't paying a huge amount of attention, so I don't know if he did everything he could have done in logic at that point. Although, I guess the only thing Exto did out of logic was just getting the one bird statue.
Yeah, he just got that one weird statue, which is pretty smart.
Okay, so he said Sam got to the last chest, died, left, and went to Betro 50. Which I guess, given that dying at the end of mines is really bad, so... Okay, so I guess back to Exto, he started his file like on the last text box of a conversation, and now he's gonna just go and do the bomb bag and the lead bombs check. He was trying to set up a cutscene skip there, but unfortunately failed it. If he had managed to land on top of that wall there, he would have been able to skip talking to that magma.
Oh, fun fact, that's actually completely useless in main dev. You have to get that text anyway when you return, so it's actually completely useless. I don't think Exo knows that. It's a cool skip though. You can do like a cool out of bounds movement.
Yeah, so we'll see, like, so basically, there's 2 checks here because in the vanilla game, lead gives you a bomb, or you get the bomb back from the chest, and then lead afterwards will say, hey, the bomb bag's empty, so here's 5 bombs that I inexplicably have, even though I lost my bomb bag. That's a great place for a wooden shield.
Well, he has it for late game, so that's gonna be useful. Hopefully,
Yeah.
at least.
So
Exto's gonna
here,
die.
yeah, so he's doing this death warp because it's going to reload the area. Now that the area is reloaded, that bridge is now going to be up. So now Exo has a few more checks that he's going to want to do.
And actually, a little surprised. I thought he would be doing the death warp in the dungeon map room, but I guess that still works. I think that one's actually faster than this, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I usually do death warp in the map chest room. Like, to be honest, the route that I currently do is I will actually do the bomb bag and lead bombs checks before I do the RBM, and then I'll go into the map room and death warp from the map room. Just because, like, the map room's like its own separate loading zone and everything, so you're saving a little bit more time by death warping after that.
Yeah.
It's basically what Exo's doing is kind of force of habit from vanilla categories where you have no reason to ever go into the map room. So yeah, map room will be the last check that Exo has before he heads to the back of the dungeon.
Kind of unfortunately, or sort of fortunately, like this art temple's been completely empty. I think that was expected though, because of, as you said, this was probably going to be a latent logic check, or latent logic dungeon. So it's not surprising that this is a pretty empty one.
Yeah, like the only item I I wouldn't be surprised to see here would be like an emerald tablet or something. Just
Like a
because like
sword.
that could be, or a sword. Like those are the couple of things. So there's the boss key. Uh, and Exto, I think, making the wise decision to death warp there after he might have been intending to death warp actually.
I think death warping's still faster there if you're already saved, so I don't think that. I think that's still the better play.
Yeah. And I like all of the strats for the Scaldera take damage, so you want to ideally have 6 hearts going in, just because like you don't want a muscle memory taking damage when you have less health than you think you do. So before the boss, the only other chest is the vanilla boss key chest. This chest you are required to get because it lowers the lava, or stops the lava flow blocking you from accessing the boss room.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying because the best check in the game. That's the
Yep.
tumbleweed. It's kind of annoying though, since this check, like, best case scenario, it's like the boss key, but worst case scenario, it's the dungeon map, which is just really slow to get. And this is like, I believe this is the only required check to beat a dungeon. I don't think any other dungeon requires a check besides like the obvious boss key one. This one, I think like you have to get an unnecessary check just to beat it.
Yeah. But Exto, well, both runners will be required to find the validation tumbleweed, so
They have to. Well, Sam's gonna find it anyway, so the seed so far is blessed. Who rolled the seed?
want to say it was ADN who rolled it. Oh, CJ rolled it.
CJ. Well, good job, CJ. You rolled a good one.
We'll see if the runners agree.
I don't
At
think
the
Sam's
end of
gonna
it.
agree, but I wonder what strategy Exto's gonna go for. White Sword Scaldera is not something you see every day. There are strats for Master Sword and Goddess Sword. I don't think there's a strat for White Sword that at least I know. So this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, White Sword and Long Sword do the same damage, so
Oh,
basically any strat. Although, again, even Long Sword is one that you don't really see. Like, you're especially never going to see it in vanilla.
yeah. The only real fights that you kind of have to get used to doing with White Sword is like Gear Him too, because that one in vanilla you always have to fight him with Gear Him with the White Sword. And then the other like interesting thing is true Masters or like Master Swords, because every runner that's done Hundo has done every single boss with true Master Sword because of boss rush. Which is nice because that's nice like preparation for rando. But these fights, like you never fight the Scaldera or something with not a sword like this. Or, like practice sword Scaldera. Get
Yeah,
all
I think
swordless.
one of the big things like for rando runners is going to be like just figuring out a lot of these strats. I mean, Exto had a really fast Scaldera fight. Also, I want to comment on Sam's side that there was a Keese who really did not want Sam to hit that time shift stone.
I did see
And
that. That was great.
yeah, and sacrificed himself in the effort to stop Sam.
Extra wallet for Exto. It's kind of something that I never really hear touched on is like rupees at rando. This rando, like Skyward Sword in general, is incredibly non-rupee heavy. This is like there's no or like if you're running 100, there's a little bit of rupee farming, but rando just has no rupee requirements. The only main item you could buy with rupees is the bug net, which is 50 rupees. And the amount of 300 rupees you're gonna get throughout this run is huge, so it's not common for anyone to not have rupees.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people who have the strat of buying a guardian potion like closer to the end game so that they can reduce the amount of damage they take in the horde fight. And that's 200 rupees, but yeah, I mean, there's no required use for rupees like there are in a lot of other Zelda games. I guess,
Exto currently sorry, you could go.
yeah. Battle Cats brings up the point about stamina potions, though, which technically could wind up being required, but it's very unlikely because the Fledge Crystals check opens up after you beat LMF because beating LMF unlocks the ability to buy stamina potions.
Yeah. What is X? Oh no, he's going for the spiral charge rock. Also, for go mode, Exo is actually still pretty far away from go mode. He still needs. He doesn't need claw shots, but he needs the hook beetle. He needs the harp. He needs an extra another. Oh, that's pretty good. He needs another sword upgrade, and I think that's it. Yeah, he has Gust Wells. I think that should be all he needs now. But no, you don't need claw shots for a linear running facility. It would save a ton of time, but right now we don't know anything that will be claw shot locked. And also, oh yeah, we also need Emerald Tablet. But Exeter also just got Digging Mints, which opens up. Well, I guess he's probably gonna re-enter Earth Temple now, because there's an extra check he could have gotten in there, but that opens up a lot of checks in Elden. I think it's like 7 checks plus Earth Temple. So it's really good to get the Zenimits. Levi's having the last table would be great. Scrappers up upside down. The randomizer has a quirk where it basically just improved your loft-wing speed, so it's not like 30 years of flying. And one of the bugs with that, since it's not like normal, is that Scrapper just kind of like gets screwed up totally badly, and so when you're flying, he just kind of flips upside down, and it's hilarious. So
Yeah,
um,
basically
we
what
don't know why.
happens. Yeah, what happens there is his angle is based on your speed value, and so because you're going so fast, like he winds up going at such an angle that he's like upside down.
Specs is crying right now. We just got final song of the hero piece. It's not too important. The Exto, he's gonna go around. He's gonna get the rest of the digging mitts checks he could get here.
Yeah, so this is
Yeah.
basically all the dig spots that in the vanilla game are where the key pieces are. Interesting, he's specifically trying to avoid taking damage there.
Sure, why really? Or he might be doing Levi's next, which could be why. The goddess are well. That's one item closer to go mode.
Yeah,
Um,
that is definitely required.
they don't
But
put too much up there.
yeah, so I guess like Harp unlocks Colin's letter right now, and otherwise like Silent Realms are already known to be useless. So,
Yeah, and then
but
the other check
his
it would open is Ballad of the Goddess, but that's fair and locked.
yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna say about taking damage there. Like, I mean, I think Exto's from his Hundo experience is very comfortable doing the Levias fight on like very low hearts because you basically are at 2 hearts in Hundo when you fight Levias because you want to Death Warp after.
Yeah. Also, as we're gonna see the final Thunderhead or the final check here. That's a render piece. Oh, that's useless. I wonder what Ski Exto's up to for not taking damage though. Venture Patch, that's useless. That's no point to that.
Yeah, you can fit in a ton of rolls after you throw that bomb. It's kind of funny. Uh, that's a cutscene that I've most of the cutscenes like that have been removed from the rando, but I guess Lepe forgot about that one. And now there's just a couple of checks in Magma Turf left. Hopefully Exto remembers. And he does. Like, he paused there for a second, so he might have been consulting his tracker.
Yeah. Levias, it's looking like Levias is gonna have the he's going to have the claw shots currently, because that's one of the final checks we have now open in Logic.
Yeah, Lepe Lepe with some of the explanation as to why that one's not removed. Yeah, like Lepe is one of the main developers of the Rando, so huge shout outs to Lepalog for making this Rando.
Oh dear, Rattle. Rattle opens up one check. One nice check. Exto really wants his claw shots. He keeps trying to equip the claw shots. It's something you get in habit because that's what you do so commonly.
Yeah, I mean, he's a hundo runner, so he's used to having those claw shots for a vast majority of the hundo run. Like, you get them, like, an hour, 40 minutes into hundo, and in a close to 7-hour run.
Yeah.
Sam, meanwhile, is doing the big item chain.
Yeah, he's gonna get a lot of the B items. Yeah, if there's cutscene I want removed, I want to remove the Moldurak and Levi's death cutscenes. Those could just go away. Levi's would be like a minute faster if it wasn't for that. It looks like Exto's gonna probably go to Levi's now. I guess that actually is another big benefit of the bow. The bow speeds up the Levi's fight a lot. Oh no, Sam gets tornadoed.
And dies because of it. Yeah, I mean, depending on where you are in the sky, like, dying can be really tragic because you get put back to the last loading zone where you entered the sky.
It looks like Exto's gonna do Levi's. Even if he doesn't do Levi's like fight now, he 100% should drop off the soup because right now that's a huge constraint if he finds the claw shots.
Yeah.
Or Emerald Tablet for the matter.
I mean, I'm kind of of the opinion that like, at this point you might as well just do the fight because it's not really gonna get any faster. Because you have the same, like, for some reason it's like with the Goddess Sword it takes like twice as many cycles to get to the last phase, but with Long Sword and White Sword seem to be just as fast as the Master Sword.
I thought it was 3 cycles with White and Long Sword. I thought it was not. I thought it was 3 instead of 4.
I don't know. I guess I have not noticed White Sword and Long Sword being any longer than with Master Sword. Mario saying the same thing, so I'm not just imagining things. So yeah, Exto is fighting the scary red arrow. Basically, if you land on Levi's back during the first phase, you can activate the second phase early, but the game hasn't loaded Phylocyte's textures yet, so he's just invisible. And I didn't even get through that explanation before Exto took him out.
Honestly, the best part of the Levi's in general, or the phase 1 skip, is the music. You get the full Levias song. It's amazing. The Biosite theme's worse than the general Levias theme.
So yeah, this is the long death cutscene that Jasnix was talking about. Because basically, or Levias has to sink all the way down to the bottom of the clouds and then rise all the way back up, and then you have this long text sequence.
Yeah, this is just slow and boring, this text.
Yeah. In the vanilla game, this is where you would start the Song of the Hero quest. Well, Jasnix, you were right. Emerald Tablet on Levias, as Exto struggles to get off of Levias.
Well, so... Wow, we could put... So we're gonna... I think we solidly put Exto far in the lead right now.
I mean, I think
So,
we could have said that for the past while.
yeah, though, I'm not sure when Sam's gonna... I bet Sam's gonna probably delay Levias as much as he can. Like, a lot of people will do that, so I expect Levias... Like, doing Levias so early is really good for Exto. So he's gonna most likely just clear out every single check-in Farron that he can. It's very likely claw shots are gonna be in Farron as well. Actually, I think he might stop that Skylock first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam did the RBM. He just entered her temple.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, hasn't Sam done that RBM like a long time ago? And I'll admit I haven't been paying a lot of attention to Sam just because Exto is significantly far ahead.
Yeah.
But I mean,
So yeah, Lepe would have lost.
yeah, I mean, in a way, like Sam waiting until he had the digging mitts is like means that he'll be able to just do Earth Temple in one trip. Not that that dig spot check is that far out of the way. Sam has
Yeah,
to wait for
it's
the
like
platform
short.
cycle though, because the platform cycle is a little more awkward when you have or when you have to check that first chest. Because normally what you do is you turn the camera completely around so that you keep it off screen until you get there, but having to get that chest kind of complicates it.
Yeah. Um. So I'm interested to see what Exto's gonna do here. He's probably just gonna full clear Farron though. Like I'm interested if like when he finds claw shots. 'Cause if he finds claw shots like really early, I wonder if he'll just book it out of Farron and then like check more on Linearu.
Yeah, that would. I mean, the thing he really needs for Linearu though is like Hook Beetle, but the claw shots could also lead to Hook Beetle.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've seen that happen a lot in these seeds. Uh, is that like either claw shots will lead to Hook Beetle in the back of Linearu, or the other way around. Hook Beetle will lead to claw shots in the back of Linearu, because those
Yeah.
are your two logical ways of accessing it. Sam's struggling to blow up this boulder. Unfortunately, Sam also has only 2 hearts, so he can't just slash the bomb.
Yeah, it's the definite best strat there though. It's this blowing up this boulder is so difficult. The timing's really awkward. But if you could just slash it, it's so much nicer. I'm not sure if radius is too small. If like you could just stand at the back of the platform, I'm not sure though. Heart container.
Yeah, so I think Exo's at 9 hearts now.
It's gonna be a nice and cozy horde. PvPs.
Yeah. I mean,
Sam.
hopefully that will blow up while he's in the text. I think Sam intentionally waited out advancing the text so that the bomb would explode
It looked
and
like it,
not
yeah.
do damage to him. We'll see if Exto decides to go for log jump here.
Nah, I think it's the play because there's not a high chance you're gonna double dip. You're gonna double dip Baron here, since you could full clear it.
Yeah.
I really wish he could just skip. Oh no, I really wish he could just skip like through. I honestly don't think slingshot's gonna be the play here, but I think he's probably gonna just do Mashi anyway. Because there's a lot of open checks you could just do. Like, you could do the Bomble Walls, you could do the Deep Woods, you could do Floria. There's so much.
Oh no.
No.
Sam, I think, was
No.
having nunchuck issues, and his basically, like, his controller kept pushing him downward. And Sim is very, very frustrated slingshotting the ground.
He's mad at the Earth Temple.
Well, that too. I think that's just a perpetual state of existence for Skyward Sword runners.
We just delete Machi. I'd love that. This Machi chase. Everything else in Slingshot's fun, except for this. This is just boring. I hate this. It's the reason Machi is the worst Kikui. Wow, Flo, you want to delete me while I'm giving this such insightful commentary. How could you?
Yeah. I mean, there is a chance that we could not require claw shots in this seed. And I mean, it would be like, I mean, the nice thing about if claw shots aren't required is you don't get baited into doing Sand Sea or the billion checks that claw shots opens up. But there's magma mitts, so that is one of the
Interesting.
checks in Volcano Summit that we were talking about like a half hour ago.
Both Exo and Sam need one sword. They're only one sword away. That's interesting. They're probably gonna check Volcano Summit next. I expect Exto's gonna go there if he doesn't find anything else in Faring.
Again, I'll point out, that is a terrible place to have a wooden shield next to all that lava.
Vanilla heart piece. Part of me disagrees with going to Lopsa here. Part of me would say do the Urla checks, like do Urla first. This kind of makes sense. Actually, why did he jump? Is he doing Floria?
I mean, that's the only reason I could see him going this direction.
I don't agree with this play at all. I would have done at least, like, I probably would have checked the rest of Slingshot. There's a lot more in Farron than there is in Floria. There's only 3 checks. And then you
Yeah.
have to fly out, so.
But I mean, like, statistics-wise, Lake Floria has progression a very large percent of the time, so it's like, I understand where he's coming from doing this, but I kind of agree. Like, I'd at least clear out the stuff that's on path with Slingshot first.
Yeah, though we saw from Average Link earlier that sometimes the interesting play is also just the 500 IQ play, so this is gonna be claw shots, I'm calling it. Darn it!
Well, it was the right color, but not the correct item.
I saw the animation of there's like the animation of him like holding up the item and I got so excited, but no. I'm more cursed than anything. Exo, you just say, or not Exo, 64, just say this is claw shots and then it'll be claw shots.
I don't know, it has, like, it's a little more subtle than that. Also, Sam not doing the RBM. Interesting. So we actually get to see the boulder rolling section of Earth Temple. Okay, that was a little scary for Exto, but he managed to get to an air bubble in time. Also, Sam accidentally blowing himself up with his own. Well, now all of Earth Temple's in logic.
We could have used
2
that like
key
30 minutes
pieces
ago.
in Flake Floria. And not only that, he got 2 key pieces in a row.
Currently ahead is Exto by a fair margin. Also, what happened to Sam? Oh no, okay, it was just frozen.
So, yeah, there's still a bunch of checks open for, in, like, fair and proper. So yeah, I guess Exto is going to go ahead and rescue Lopsa now.
Yeah, the general route for Farronwoods is do Machi, do the bomb wall, and then do Lopsa, push the log, go to Deep Woods, get that check, and then do Ulu, then do Urla and Ulu. Then you usually will go backwards and do Floria. I'm really surprised he did Floria first though, because it's definitely slower than just doing this the normal way.
Yeah.
Yes, Floha, you don't want to forget Ulu. I don't know anyone who's ever done that. Oh my god, I still failed Bob's roll. I'm mad at him. No, Farron will never flood. Song of the Hero is completely absent from Rando, so you were never gonna have to fight Tad Tones. We're never gonna have to do Bokoblin base, so it's all completely gone. The only Song of the Hero segment I ever see potentially being a Rando is Gorge, because if we just erase Minecart Escort, that's like 3 or something checks that we could add in, but it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, like I've thought about like how that was like, how would that work? Like I don't know. I feel like you'd kind of have to like. The only way to really make it work in Rando would be to like shorten the minecart escort.
No one wants. Honestly, I would rather just I'd rather Gorge be out than have to deal with Minecart Escort. I would never want to do Minecart Escort in Rando.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think all of us really don't like minecart escort. I mean, that's true. I mean, we could just like have the minecart just be at the end already, but then we kind of have a key that just has no purpose.
You have
So
a
I don't know.
key. Yeah, like you'll have the key there, and then you have the key, and you have like any of the Life True Seedling, which is kind of a pointless check anyway.
I don't know. I mean, Life Tree Seedling in the pool might be interesting.
It's true, because like, if you open up like Thunder Dragon, Song of the Hero as like a check, that would actually be kind of cool. So I see that also just kind of being up there. I don't know if it's really worth it.
Yeah, but it would be something that would have to require a lot more thought. So meanwhile, Exo in Deep Woods, having gotten Cube Warp to get access to this chest, which is completely useless. I won't. One thing I've kind of toyed with is whether death warping after that chest in some situations might be faster. But maybe not, like maybe just like if you have optimal movement, just running back is still faster. Hylian Shield is in the rando pool. It's not considered progression, so like runners might not find it anywhere, but it is somewhere. And yeah, boss rush is not, but yeah, Hylian Shield was put into the item pool fairly early on. And yeah, I mean, plenty of times runners have found the Hylian Shield. It would be kind of funny if runners found it this seed because they already found the wooden shield that's also in the pool. Okay, so Exto has rescued all the Kikwis and gets more junk for it. And misses the rope. Unfortunate. So yeah, now Exo's gonna go into the Great Tree because there's one chest inside of the Great Tree. Great Tree is something you don't tend to see much in vanilla, because other than that chest, there's not really anything here. I guess we go in here before Tad Tones, but that's about it. And he has to go through the intended way because he has Gust Bellows but no Claw Shots. Exto using a ton of arrows, but does not want to deal with these Froaks. And so he's gonna want to jump on to this left side platform here. And actually manages to get it without a ledge grab, which is impressive. Scaldera RNG being mean to Sam, but Sam does eventually take him down. Okay, well, Exto with another bottle, but that really doesn't get him anywhere. So this Farron has actually been blank. I guess Exo decided he wanted the heart piece. I mean, he was low health at the time, but I guess it's like if you're literally just walking right by it and you're low health and you don't have an immediate need to death warp, you might as well just pick it up. Oh yeah, it was true. We did get the Magma Mitts here, and that does open up one check in Elden. And Volcano Summit has been known to house progression.
I expect Volcano Summit's gonna have something. Or if it's Kalash, that's gonna open up the other Volcano Summit check. So, and we got earrings really early this seed.
Okay. Exto landing on Skyloft. I'm trying to think for. I guess the Collins letter check is the only thing I can think of. Oh, did he also just get Rattle? Yeah. So he's gonna turn in the Rattle now. Sam running out of stamina. Sliding halfway down the slope. I at least didn't go all the way down. Exto bonking on the academy doors. So entering at night, so he has to go in the top entrance, so he has to roll all the way down. Indoors, rolling is significantly faster than walking. Everywhere else, rolling, like, looks faster, but it only saves, on average, 1 frame per roll. Sam missing that jump, unfortunately. I guess... Oh yeah, I guess if Sam went up the intended way, then he never extended the bridge. So now we will get to see what item Sam has. Also, like, Exto's been, like, going into his item menu a lot. So I don't know if it's just, like, calibration issues that seem to be plaguing everyone recently, or I don't know what.
I swear there's a calibration curse going around. It's never... I've never had many issues with it, and then recently I started having issues with it. I don't know. It's a time of year thing. They get allergies.
Nintendo globally nerfed the calibration so that people would have to buy SSHD when it came out. Although it's a little early for pollen season. Or at least maybe in where I am, maybe not. Maybe other parts of the country. Or world. Yes, Wii Remote antihistamines. Clearly the solution. So Exto talking to Owlin, so he's going to be getting Owlin crystals. So I wasn't paying attention to see if Exto had pushed to the log. So pushing the log there will speed up this check significantly, because you can just climb back up to where Lopsa was before, and now Ulo will be there. And looks like he did remember to push down the log.
I need to get that log into muscle memory. I always have to think really hard about it. I never have it like something I just do. It's such a weird thing
Oh
because
yeah,
in like vanilla, you just never even think of that log.
yeah. Because in vanilla, like even in 100%, there's like one log you push down.
Actually, no bit hundo pushes that log because you delay Ulu until after Tad tones, but
Yeah, but
no
I
normal
have a
hundo does
feeling
not do
your
this.
no bit hundo is going to go through a massive reroute.
That's true. It probably will. So yeah, both runners. Sam still doesn't have the Emerald Tablet, which is the big thing, but really, the Emerald Tablet doesn't have anything, or at least as far as we know. It's
Yeah.
been pretty barren besides mob movements. And we don't know what Owling crystals are, but it's actually this could be good for Sam because if he doesn't get Emerald Tablet until Go mode, or like until he's in like pseudo Go mode, that would be really good for him because he would skip checking all of Farron. So this could
Yeah,
actually
well,
be
he would.
potentially really good for
Yeah, but
Sam.
he'll be exchanging that for potentially a full clear of LMF.
That is true.
So I guess it's like those two. Like, I guess those two will kind of balance each other out because, as you said earlier, full clearing LMF is really slow.
That
Because
is
I think
true.
it's like so in no bit like LMF is like what something like 17, 18 minutes.
Let's check my. I'll check my no-bit splits really fast. Hold on.
Well, I think it's something around there, and then you're adding a bunch of time there to actually check all of the chests, so it's probably close to like a little over 20 minutes that you're spending in LMF.
So I know back in time, it's around 18. It's around 18 minutes for LMF. Like doing everything in LMF takes around 18 minutes. So adding the other checks would probably add another like 2-ish minutes. So yeah. Yeah, I said like pseudo go mode because that would mean he'd be able to that he wouldn't be in go mode, but he would be in closer go mode.
Okay,
That
so
is
Emerald Tablet was
never.
required for Owling Crystals. Okay, so
So
CJ, you have rolled a doozy of a seed.
so forget what I just said. Sam is no longer is not in a good position anymore since um Farron is 100% required, and that also means he needs to clear out Slingshot because the only way to do Allen crystals is get the slingshot check. So the lead Sam potentially would have had is completely evaporated.
But
Exo's going to now just check the rest of he's gonna check he's gonna do all the notes. He's gonna do the near mining facility basically immediately now.
yeah. Also, the fact that he checked the Stone Cache statue very early on is now going to come into huge effect because now he can just land there and start with Fire Node and have optimal routing of Lanayru Desert.
Yes, Exo just needs the sword now, and he's in complete go mode.
Yeah. And like honestly, like Exto at this point may even be hoping he doesn't find Claw Shots because Claw Shots will send him on potentially a huge wild goose chase with all of the
Yeah,
locations that it opens up.
and we don't know where two of the swords are currently, and that opens up the potential of TMS being a sword, which means that there's only one that there could potentially is only one sword left in the entire seed that is possible to get, which could be bad. Yeah, there's a chance it's Fledge crystals, which is very scary. Um, Exo's really hoping he finds a sword now, though. Finding a sword now would allow him to skip full clearing LMF, which is huge. That would basically give him the win, but since he's still lacking a sword, anything could happen.
Yeah. Now, there in a lot of recent seeds, there has been a sword in Fire Node.
Yes, there has been a lot. So, okay, he's just getting this check. Okay, yeah. I was worried Exo was gonna do the L to do this backwards, which was gonna be way slower. There have been a lot of swords in LMF too, though. I think that's also because LMF is usually the go mode dungeon, so usually it's like there's gonna be a sword in there. Though a lot of seats have had swords in linear running facility.
Well, there's Master Sword, and that is,
It's-
I believe, go mode.
Yep, it's go mode. So, unfortunately, this is gonna be a wrap, basically. This is probably gonna be a wrap for Sam.
Okay.
So yeah, he's gonna do Levi's now, so yeah. This is complete go mode for Exto, and so that's gonna he's gonna do the fastest clear of element possible, which is gonna be just find the boss key, basically.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see where the boss key actually winds up. Because, yeah, there's definitely, like... So, one of the things about LMF is, like, when you clear the east wing that's locked by the small key... So, Exto getting a bomb refill. Which, yeah, knowing where all these bomb refills are in Lanayru and the nodes is really important.
I do not think that Sam has done Levi's in a while. Yeah, so this is gonna be a fast seed. This kind of shows how important early swords are, because having one sword, like having two swords before like the hour mark, is incredibly good. So this is gonna be, and so like even though the seed would probably have been really long, Exto last locations a lot of things. Since like swords are now obviously required dungeon, they're not dungeon, but like they're obviously gonna be required. Everyone's gonna find them. It just makes the seed so much faster. Because usually SS rando seeds turn into find an item. That's usually what they end up becoming, which didn't really like. And this seed was to find hook beetle, but not having to look for swords really sped this up.
Yeah. And the fact that like the fact that the swords were basically just on the way. Oftentimes you can wind up with swords just being way out of the way and like spending a long time go mode minus sword.
Yeah. Which it's like long dungeon like routes, and it's just a mess. That's also the other big thing of the seed being so fast was Earth Temple. Earth Temple is easily the fastest dungeon to clear. Or it's not the fastest, but it's easily the most accessible dungeon to clear because the only item you need is the bombs. Whereas Ancient Cistern to be fast, you also need the claw shots, and you still want like other items, so it makes it a little longer.
Yeah, like Ancient Cistern with the right items I would say is the fastest of the dungeons. But yeah, like otherwise, yeah, probably Earth Temple because it does like actually like even bombs are only needed for one check. Or
That's
only
true.
hard required for one check. And actually, technically not even that, because you can, because I was thinking the map chest, but you can get the map chest with Hook Beetle.
I think you could full clear it without bombs. I think no, I saw Pepper doing that actually, since
Yeah,
you could just use Hook Beetle, so that you could actually just full clear. You could just full clear it. Um, so yeah, it makes like Earth Temple's so nice. It's easily the easiest dungeon.
okay.
Then
Sam
like
is probably really frustrated right now.
yeah, also gotta say the worst dungeon in Rando is without a doubt Fire Sanctuary. Fire
I,
Sanctuary absolutely sucks in Rando.
I don't know. I think like Fire Sanctuary has a lot of interesting routing decisions with RBMs and such. I'd say LMF is by far the worst dungeon in Rando.
For me, like when I say like Fire Sanctuary, I mostly say like it's there's so many required items for Fire Sanctuary. If you're doing especially like, without packing time, you need Hook Beetle to get past like one check. You need to get you need like Hook Beetle. You need Malga Mitts, which means 2 digging mitts with 2 progressive mitts. It's so long, and then it's also just this long gauntlet. RBA makes it cool though because you get to do the bit warp in the middle, which speeds it up considerably.
Yeah, like yeah, I mean, pretty much the thing that makes Sanctuary routing interesting is having RBM. Also, Sam not realizing he needs to get the Kikwi Elder check before he can actually start the Owlin quest.
So, not first chest boss key. I don't know if I think Exo's gonna save scum this. I saw him save. I don't know if he. I honestly don't remember if he did the RBM or not. I don't think he did though. Well, he's getting destroyed by Rocco, but I expect the boss key. Like the boss key in LMF could be in an awful location.
I think Exo is trying to go after that art that went over the edge.
Does anyone still use the gold Wii remote? I never had it. I know some people had it and then just broke. I don't know if anyone still uses it.
You know, Exto used it for a long time until the nunchuck port on it finally went. And Exo getting that really swag front hop onto in the cutscene.
That's such a cool trick. Red Rupee. Yeah, this is the LMF curse. The boss key chest in LMF is one of the also longest checks. And the boss key is always there. Like I never see the boss key anywhere but there, so it's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because that check just takes forever.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with checking that vanilla small key chest that early though. I guess if it happens to be like your small key or your big key or your boss key, it can pay off to check that early, but I would just go right to the West Wing.
Yeah, you could do
Because
interesting routing there with the windmill RBM. You could just do like the back half and then just go back to that small key chest.
yeah, although I was like by Exto's own admission, like this West Wing is a part of the dungeon that Exto has not done in forever. Just because like even in like the old 5-hour route, like these rooms were not done because you could just bit warp past them. Okay, Exto showing that you can in fact gust bellows that propeller from all the way back there, but did spend a little bit of time setting it up. Then these central enemies can be really scary. I guess less so like with Exto's current health, but like in no bit, like, it can be really scary because if you get hit, uh, it can, like, you're basically at 6 hearts, and if you die, like, very deep in the dungeon, like, it costs so much time.
Yeah, in no bit, you death warp right before doing the West Wing, but from West Wing to the end of the dungeon, you have 6 heart. You basically could take 3 hits, and technically you could have the revitalizing potion at that point, because there's not a set point you use it, but there's also a good chance you don't have it, and if you don't, that means that you have to go through the rest of the dungeon on 6 hearts, and it's really easy to take damage. The boss Kirim's commonly feared. Because that's one of that center is a troll, and then you also have like the spike maze, which if you mess up, you get hit, and then you have like minecart jump. If you mess up a minecart jump because the bomb's too close, or assuming you do the bomb version, you take damage in that, and like going into the boss room with 2 hearts is so stressful. All Hundo runners can agree with that statement. Every single one.
I mean, you do save before the minecart jump, but so like the minecart jump, I guess, isn't as big of a deal. But the boss gear, like if you die near the end of that, you lose so much time. And same with like the spike maze. But we're gonna hope that this is an early boss key. No, it's an early small key. So I think the play at this point is to go and do the East Wing. Those 3 checks.
I think it's the play to do East Wing right now. Yeah, okay, he's doing it. I think like that was definitely what you should have done there, especially since you could open the gate there and make the shortcut.
Yeah.
I think the best play there would actually have been saving in the big room, because then you could just immediately death warp.
Yeah.
Still looking for that boss key though. There's a few locations where it could be. In the East Wing's the nicer locations, but there's only around 3. I think there's only 3 checks in the East Wing currently, so it's not. There's not a very high chance it could be in here.
Yeah, so I
He's
guess
gonna
like,
have a bow here.
yeah, although he's running somewhat low on arrows, he's gonna want to save. So he can use 1 here. He'll want to use 1 at the very end of the dungeon to hit the time shift stone in the big room after Moldarok.
Yeah, that one's probably gonna save the most time. Assuming he doesn't like try and kill Demos. And then he's probably gonna do the bomb strat for the boss key room. I don't think he's gonna do the non-bomb one, because the bomb one's probably, I think, faster anyway. So he should be fine on arrows. I would like if Rando could add a few more like arrow things, because it makes arrow routing incredibly precise, or like incredibly tight. Didn't slip off the railings there. I've done that so many times. Like for some reason you could just slip off those like not the minecarts, the tracks, and I don't know why it happens, but it just does.
I thought for sure Exto was gonna get hit by that Vimos there.
He ran really close.
And I mean, yeah, he lined up with that cycle really well. Another case where, yeah, Exto knows what he's doing. I should know not to Monka S at any of this. I mean, Exto held the 100% world record for close to a year. His movement is extremely clean. Okay, there's the claw shots that we were wondering. So that's like, okay, I think Exto was like thinking about death warping and then realized that it wouldn't really save him time.
I don't know. You would either that he just got mad. There could have just been a thing where he got mad.
I mean,
How
maybe.
absolutely amazing that would have been earlier.
But like honestly, like I think this is a situation in which you're kind of happy to find claw shots late because you found them late, you didn't get baited into things like Sand Sea.
Yeah, if there was, I don't know what the last sword is, but there's a good chance it's on like Sansi or something that's just far out of the way.
But you know, I guess Exto is unhappy about that claw shots location. Which, I mean, claw shots is an incredibly convenient item to have. Like, I won't deny that. And like the fact that he hasn't had those claw shots for so long, it definitely, like, there's a lot of things he could have done with the claw shots to speed things up, but the problem is because claw shots opens up so much at once, it can become somewhat difficult to pick the right thing to do when you have them. But there's the boss.
So, yeah, he's getting his boss key, so he's gonna just go through the normal route here. He's just gonna go through the sand tunnels and then he's gonna just do the boss key. There's no need to linger in LMF any longer. Everything else is gonna be completely empty. Maybe Exo could go by the bug net before he ends. I'd be really upset if he doesn't. I think he's not gonna though. I think I'm gonna have to be upset today. It is true. The
Well,
gunshots are so nice for Moldy. Because the slingshot is like this weird delay with it, and when you shoot it, it's slower, but the claw shots make the fight a lot smoother.
yeah, I agree. I much prefer having claw shots to slingshot in the Moldarok fight, so that kind of makes it even more of like that might actually be the best locations that the claw shot could have been in. Like,
Yeah, it's
no
one of
chance
the
of
best
getting
spots.
no chance of getting baited into Sand Sea, and but you still get to have the really nice Moldarok fight. Exto missing the platform or the stairs there.
I love that movement there. It's so clean. Just doing like clean landing onto the stairs. It's amazing. Top 10 movement in the game.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we will definitely hear Exto's opinion on that claw shots location. Sam's still like a decent way behind, but I mean, you can't really blame him because Emerald Tablet and Foot Beetle were in terrible locations. Incredibly clean Molder Rock fight, and actually, like, with Master Sword, like, it's actually a little more difficult because your sword's so much longer that you need to kind of back a bit more away from Molder Rock to actually hit him.
It's the one fight where a bigger sword just makes it so much worse. It got his sword mold directly. It is the collision is just too large for his hands, and it just ruins it ruins the like usually the stab inputs, it'll just ruin them because you bonk the sword, you bonk the sword on the hand, and then you just simply can't get a follow up after that.
I guess Sam also not knowing how to get to the side platform with the gust bellows. So he's gonna be climbing the outside of the tree. Exto picking up the heart container out of habit. Exo just flying the beetle while he's waiting in the minecart. Not giving us beautiful music in the minecart though. Sag. Actually, did Sam actually get the chest? I guess he did because he's leaving this way. Great location for gratitude crystals.
It'd be funny if in that cutscene, like the Zelda cutscene, she just kind of hands you, it's like, well, Link, take this, take my thanks, or something. That would be great. Oh yeah, it's time to hot the spile.
Yep, it's getting to be that time. Yeah, Exo has to fly to Farron. Sealed ground. Oh wow, Sam hasn't even finished with Kikwis yet. Sam has to feel frustrated at this point. Like,
yeah.
I can kind of see it in his movement.
I like the Mario. I agree. I dislike Fast Imp too. I believe we all do.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's still satisfying to like just pull off the optimal strat, but
It's also
it's
slow.
incredibly difficult, and yeah, like it would be nice if we could maybe get rid of some more of these cutscenes, but
Yeah. Sam's not LML because he doesn't have the hook beetle, so he can't enter it. And the hook beetle's on owling crystals, which means, and since Sam's nowhere near, or he's not close there yet.
yeah, because Sam has to go back to Skyloft, talk to Alan, and then come back down in order to get Ulo, and then go back up to the sky to deliver him to Alan to get the hook beetle.
And he also has to do the nodes and stuff.
Struggling a little bit with that jump, but eventually gets it. Exto.
Still gonna get some hearts.
Yeah. Will he get the Great Kebab?
He got the good hands there. That spin's really precise. You usually could follow with like random slashes and it'll occasionally hit the final thing to. Let's see. It's one.
Okay. Yep, so hotted the spile once.
The harder one. That's double.
Yep.
Well, the spile's been hotted. That is one hot spile. Yeah, this fight is just pain. At least it's over.
Yep. The spile has been hotted with a perfect fight, and yep, we got what Specs wants to call the Great Kebab.
Yeah, everyone feast on the Great Kebab.
Okay, like, what is Sam's reaction going to be upon opening the next chest and getting the last key piece?
Forfeit.
I don't know. I mean, I think that might be extreme, given that
Yeah.
Exto has not done yet, although that is soon to come.
Yeah, he should be done in the next like 7-ish minutes. Sub 230 seed, still pretty impressive. This was like gonna be a decently long seed, but swords were nice, and he ended up he checked Levias nice and early.
Okay, on Sam's side, he very nearly died to. I think both runners very nearly died to bonking one of the burrs.
I refuse to call those burrs. They're morths, and that's the end of it.
Sam deciding he doesn't have enough time to express frustration with that.
Yeah. I didn't notice Sam was taking a while with a lot of his item checks. It looks like he was like updating his tracker while he had the item in his hand. Usually what I do is I'll just mash through the text and then I'll just mark my tracker at the next loading zone, since it will waste time to not per se immediately. Is Exto gonna go for the TMS check?
I
Yeah.
guess he is.
This could be True Master Sword. That would be great, because that makes Horde significantly easier. Well, it's close enough.
Yeah, I don't. Does that actually give him? Oh, it actually did give him an extra hit on Horde, so I guess he's readying his cold pumpkin soup so he can get 4 more hearts. Should he take some damage?
I really wish we could we could get rid of the requirement to talk to Hum after doing the after like bonking the chandelier. Because Kina crystals in this seed, like there's nothing that could be in Kina in anything later in the Lumpy line, so it's completely worthless, and it's a junk item. So it's annoying that you have to go through that text every time.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the same time, it's like it's a vanilla thing, so
Yeah, it's true.
in my opinion, just keep it that way, just because it's that way in vanilla.
I saw Sam was checking the dungeons again. He was making sure he'd have to beat like Fire Sanctuary instead. He just misread it. I still don't understand the setup that Exto is doing for this Horde skip. I do like a completely different setup that doesn't work most of the time. This one looks a lot more consistent, so I should probably do it, but it looks so weird for me. Oh
Well,
no,
we
I
are
think
gonna see
Sam's
what
gonna
that
do.
volcano summit check is. Well, did Sam not check the temple entrance statue? Not that it's terribly irrelevant, but I guess he never checked the temple entrance statue.
I mean, I think this would be faster anyway. I don't think it would be faster because you get to just go immediately from the shortcut. He almost made it through the archers unscathed, but no. So coming up is gonna be where buying a shield is gonna help. I'm not sure if buying the shield's actually faster right now, or I don't know if it's actually faster, but it definitely does help up with Gerhim 3 Phase 2. It speeds that up a lot. Because you without 2 Master Sword, you can't get a consistent 1 cycle without it.
Yeah. I guess like I consider it worth to get a shield, but it probably depends on what your required dungeons are.
For
Exto
Molder
posting,
Rackets, like, is so much more good with a shield.
yeah, having the shield is kind of a nice backup for Molder to get like the first stun going.
Sam got far behind due to Emerald Tablet being off Levias, and then Sam not doing Levias near towards the end. Plus, Exo just kind of gained a lot of time on Sam from movement, and then Sam also made a lot of mistakes this run. Unfortunately, like he died towards the end of Mines, which was really bad. So yeah, it's a combination of the two.
Yeah. Sam just picking up the silver rupee and probably just like in incredible frustration. But yeah, it's because like Levias is a check that a lot of runners will put off, and then to make matters worse, then the next progression item was on Owling crystals, which is itself something that you'll last location.
Yeah, it's the last trick you're ever gonna do in Farron.
So yeah, I think like especially because of that, like this just already was not really favoring Sam, and then on top of that, making mechanical errors just like further put him behind.
Yeah. Yeah, like if a lot of people like say that like they just don't do Levias, like Lepalog, he always just says like I don't do Levias until its last location. So if you're playing against Lepalog, it's probably a really good idea to do early Levias, because if that's useful, that saves a lot of time.
Yeah, like just knowing your opponent is a huge part of it.
The guys I'm more willing to do Levias early, as shown by my last race where I did Goddess Sword Levias. I'm more willing to do Levias more than just not doing it. Just not do Levias early. I don't know about Kit Kat.
Hitcot, I think, is a runner who does Levias, maybe not super early, but earlier than a lot of other runners.
Be included in your bio. Yeah, I agree. It would be super useful.
And GG to Exto, finishing in first place with a time of 2:27:22. And I will await him in the interview for to hear all about that claw shots location.
Why, hello, Exto.
Hi.
So Exto, how do you feel about that claw shots location?
Honestly, I'm more upset about Levias having Emerald Tablet and then entirety of Farron being useless, and then Olan having Poke Beetle.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
was-
terrible
It
progression.
was so bad. That seed was awful. And what's even more interesting, or what's potentially as interesting, I think, in this seed is that it pretty much went from like 0 items to immediately having every single item except the one that you need. And then it was just a massive goose chase to actually find, like, you know, the second beetle.
Yeah, or as someone in chat pointed out, a massive goose chase.
And it looks like
Haha.
Sam's about to get it now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam,
unfortunately-
Sam lost a lot of time because he ended up, he did Levi, I think he last location Levias, so it ended up just being, he got Emerald Tablet way later than you did. I believe he got Emerald Tablet while you were in the middle of LMF.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was really unfortunate for him.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But that's the nature of means. Like this, what's the opposite of a baby seed? A grandpa seed? This was a grandpa seed. It was not nice.
CJC, yeah.
A CJC. But other than that, like the beginning was fairly straightforward, I think.
Yeah, the
And
logic of the seed didn't seem too complicated. The only main thing was Lanayru, which was interesting. You got lucky there with the bombs in Lanayru, because that's another thing Sam didn't do.
Yes.
He did Thunderhead before Lanayru, which ended up really hurting him.
The Lanayru was on what, Betro 10 crystals, right? And so
yes, 10.
So I got so deep into logic, and that check was sitting there taunting me for some time. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, if this isn't something useful, then it got to the point where I pretty much just said it's got to be something useful. There's no way that it would be like this for so long and go this deep without putting a useful item there.
And would you look at that? It was.
Yeah, and it's also interesting that you basically did the break slides to get to Stone Cache just to like leave out of that statue, but it wound up paying off because you were able, once you got Hook Beetle, you were able to just land there and do the nodes immediately.
I thought that was a really five-head idea there, because it was like you probably weren't gonna check Fire Node yet.
No, I only wanted the statue, because like the desert entrance statue is really far away, and that one's probably just as long to get to, and I'd need to go there later anyway. What I'm really, really disappointed about is that I didn't get the triple cutscene skip at the beginning of Earth Temple.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was incredibly sad. I remember looking at I was watching and I was like, wow, that 5-head arrow play, but also Sam is just incredibly annoyed.
Yeah, Sam just threw his controller at the wall, and he's going to pick it up right now.
He just reset the game.
Oh, he DNF'd.
Okay. F.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, we can, I guess, yeah, since Sam has forfeited, I guess we could have him come in here and hear him complain about this seed.
Can't wait to tell him that Claw Shots was halfway through LMF.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting about that, though, is, and I guess, yeah, welcome, Sam.
Oh, I don't want to talk about it, man. Oh boy,
Yeah, what was that garbage?
dude. Oh man, like I checked Levi's. Levi's was my last remaining check out of the entire rando for the Emerald Tablet, and then that Hook Beetle was my last remaining check too. Oh man, like I actually did like pretty decently up until ET. I like finished that. I thought like at an okay pace, but I just could not find Claw Shots or Hook Beetle, and I was completely stranded. I cleared pretty much everything before I got it. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I spent the majority of the time with only like 4 or 5 checks available.
Yeah, me too. Like in the beginning, I completely like cleared out everything. Also, I did Petrus fully because I didn't think that the bomb bag was the big check that like really messed me up. Honestly, because like I wouldn't really go to Lanayru Mines just to get that one check near the thing. So I cleared everything else before that one to get the bomb bag, which let me get Elden and all that stuff. It was a really frustrating seed, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
I want to throw this fun information at you. So, the claw shots the claw shots check. Let's just say was probably in the best position ever. It was the chest right next to the gust bellows in LMF.
Oh boy. Oh
Yeah.
man.
So the claw shots were completely absent this entire seed. This was a completely claw shotless seed.
So it was
Ah.
pretty much locked just behind that the Allen's crystals, right? So because you need the hook
Yep.
to do LMF. Oh
I'll
man.
have you know, the claw shots were useful for fighting Moldarak, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I want to say about that too, which I said when you found them, was the nice thing about late claw shots is at least you don't get baited into all of the checks that claw
Mhm.
shots open
Fancy,
from.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, not going to Sansi is nice. Sansi is basically like a 15-minute cutscene that you get 7 checks.
True. Oh boy.
GG.
Yeah. Big GGs. I'm curious. What time did you get Hook Beetle that you went to Allen for the crystals?
You mean like in terms of numerical time, or like after doing what?
Yeah, like numerical time.
I'm not really sure. Maybe Jasnix or 64 knows.
It was like a 150 hook beetle or something. You got it like a couple minutes. Well, you didn't do all of LMF, so that was probably like 10 minutes in LMF, and then like 5 minutes to open the rest of LMF. So it was probably like around 150 or something.
Hmm.
But he got it pretty late into the seed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really have that much else to say about that seed. It was alright. Like, I was playing pretty okay. I like died in mines, and that was super frustrating because it like messed up my whole line to like do the Earth Temple Door RBM and that stuff. And I made some dumb mistakes, but I just got screwed over by the last check. Oh, bummer.
Yeah, I mean, this was unfortunately a seed where like a lot of people were going to last location things just because they were in terrible locations.
Yeah,
Well, I
it
mean,
is.
the one thing I have to say to Exto is good luck against Jim, man.
Oh
Oh, boy.
man, like I'm up against the final boss.
Be a hero, Exto. Be a hero.
I'm sorry for you landing in the Jim Exto group.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
It was a 151 hook beetle.
Oh, interesting.
So close.
Yeah, almost nailed it. Double last location. That's
Yeah.
just unbelievable. That's so unfortunate.
Remember,
And-
it was CJ's fault. He did roll the seed.
Farron was
Yeah,
so
that's true.
misleading. Because
Yeah.
there wasn't a single useful thing in the entirety of Farron.
Yeah, and I full cleared Farron too. I must have last location to progress item like 10 times because Emerald Tablet was the big one. Like I went like an hour and a half into the seed without ever finding Emerald Tablet, and I thought that was like so weird. And I cleared everything except for Levias, and then I did that. I cleared all of Elden, and obviously like not Linear because I didn't have Hook Beetle, but everything I could get on Skyloft. I ended up with like 80 gratitude crystals at the end.
Oh yeah,
Bummer.
lots of gratitude crystals. I got Emerald Tablet at about 124, by the way.
Yeah, man, that'll kill you. Levias.
So, Exto, I don't know if you were here while we were talking about this, but when do you usually do Levias? Like, do you like to hold off Levias till like a last location, or do you like to do it early?
Well, it really, I'm gonna give you a great answer. I'm gonna say it depends, because like if Well, for like going anywhere to do one check is really bad, right? Just in general. So generally, if I'm going to go do like some other check in Thunderhead and I have spiral charge, I'll go do Levias as well.
Now, what about you, Sam?
Levias, honestly, I usually tend to last location Levias, and that's kind of what screwed me over here. Just because, like, I mean, for like the reason you would last location any check, it's just so long. But yeah, what's up, Exto?
I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry, finish your thought. My bad.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, I pretty much just last location Levias just for like the reason that it's just a super long check, but obviously that screwed me over here. I do enjoy doing Levias though. It's pretty fun to do the invisible battle side.
All right,
Relic
CJ,
from
write
the
that down.
ancients.
CJ, you have to note that down. You gotta put that on. You gotta put that on the list of Levias.
I just distinctly remembered actually why I did Levias, because lately I've been really trying to like think about how the placement of items could be to make a better route. And so like Levias had been up for so long that it just made sense to do it at that point.
Yeah.
Because I generally try and go wide rather than deep in Randomizer.
That makes sense though. You like your wide socks.
Yeah.
Yo, where does the wide socks thing come from? I've heard that like way too many times, like in passing an extra stream. Wide socks.
Every one extra stream, we find one thing that we can make a joke out of.
Well, I mean, that's like everything. I mean, that's how we got Hot the Spile.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, dude.
I gave a nice kebab for you.
Yeah, that was a excellent great kebab.
Unfortunately, I was Kebab Tim instead of Kebab Time.
Yeah,
Close
well,
enough.
8 character file names.
I went out of Elden just for soup, because my plan was to get pick up like the pumpkin thing, and then grab the breakable boulder behind Fun Island, and then head into Thunderhead and clean it up, which actually would have been the better play, but I realized that I could just full clear Earth Temple, and when you can full clear, when I can full clear a dungeon, I like to just do it.
I held
Okay,
off
so
on
that's
entering
why
Earth
you
Temple for
went-
so long. Because I was looking for the digging mitts, which took me like a ton of time to find. So I was like bouncing back and forth between Lanier and Elden and Skyloft doing that, and that like cost me a ton of time too. So I was super reluctant to go into Earth Temple before I could full clear it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was-
the thing with the digging mitts is one check that is locked by digging mitts, and it's at the
is
very
the
beginning
front.
of the dungeon, so it's
Yeah.
very easy to go back for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had to
Also-
do the double dip in there. You had to go back in. You found Demons really late.
Yeah. I don't even remember where digging mitts was. Where was it?
It was
The
it was
brick
the spiral
boulder
charge rock.
behind
Oh, right.
Mound.
Yeah. But yeah, no. The one thing I was gonna say, Exo, is yeah, that was one thing we wound up, I think, being a bit confused about was when you left Elden, got the soup, and then went right back to
Yeah.
Elden.
It was exceptionally stupid. My original plan actually would have been better in retrospect, but whatever. It worked. It worked out.
The biggest
wasn't that
problem
bad.
with that, the biggest problem that I think it was Lepe who pointed this out was if you got in claw shots on Earth Temple, you wouldn't have been able to do Sparrow check immediately. You would have had to delay that as well, which would have been really bad
Mhm.
because that would require another trip to Lumpy Pumpkin and to get the soup, or you had to go drop the crystal ball, or you just had to delay the crystal ball until you go back to Elden, which wouldn't have been that bad since you just immediately got digging mitts after Earth Temple. But still would have been bad since you would have to do an extra trip for no reason. So that was pretty poor routing there.
Yeah.
Bad Exto.
Yeah. Oops.
Okay. Well, we've been asked to ask you about your next matchup. So, Exto, how do you feel about going up against Jim?
Well, in a Hundo race, We can kind of punch even. I definitely would say that he's just better at randomizer than I am. Just straight up. So scary. He's fast, dude. He's real fast.
Very fast.
And then you'll be up against Deer, I believe, Sam.
Deer, nice. I actually didn't watch Jim and Deer's match, so I have no idea what to expect. Lesson learned though: do not last location Levi's.
Yeah, perma last locationing some things really can really screw you over. Just look at Jaznix and Harm with Beatrice.
Oh man, yeah, dude. Like I really thought, because I cleared pretty much everything. I think Beatrice was like a last location too, but it gave me the gratitude crystals like to do something else, which I could have gotten from if I did like the bomb bag and went to the mines. But I really thought it was like a Beatrice seed, so I thought I was like doing so good for a like full clearing Beatrice and doing that entire quest, but turned out not.
But yeah, long checks just being like the required item. It's never fun since those are always the last locations. Like Beatrice, Elden Trial, Levias. Those 3 of the longest checks in the game, and they're all just terrible. Also, like top of LMF is terrible as well. Though we're
Outline
yet to have a
crystals.
seed. That's one of those.
Outline crystals without Skyview is probably the worst check in the game.
That's true.
In the
It also
randomizer.
is really bad. Well, is that worse than top of LMF? I don't think that's worse than top of LMF.
Good point. Top of LMF is probably even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess the worst thing about Allen crystals is it requires a double dip to Farron.
Yeah.
And so, especially in this scene where you could literally get every other check in Farron,
Which is, I think, what we both did, by the way.
yeah. I mean, because it makes sense. Like
Yeah.
like you're looking for a small amount of items. You're just gonna do all the checks you can while you're there, so it doesn't so. And then it's just you're naturally gonna last location it. Although the one thing I also want to ask you about is you did go when like right to Lake Floria immediately, instead of doing like the traditional routing Exto where you would like basically do like slingshot, do deep woods while you're doing the slingshot check, and then after getting the slingshot check then go to Lake Floria.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Deepwood or Lake Floria is stacked like 90% of the time.
I
That's all
mean,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
that
It's
is true.
stacked, but not
Also,
with the
how-
right items.
How did you both feel about having the final key pieces being in Floria?
I don't
Dude,
think
the
I've
key-
ever completed the key in
Yeah,
Randomizer before.
It's so insulting to RBM the Earth Temple door and then just like get all the pieces. It's like thanks.
It's kind of the scary thing though, because Earth Temple is one of the most commonly out of logic dungeons. Like this seed had Earth Temple be really late in. It would have been like the same time as LMF, and that meant that Earth Temple was completely empty. There was not a single progressive. I don't think there was a single progressive
Yeah.
item inside of Earth Temple, which is really common too.
Dude, it was weird. There was not a single progressive item inside Earth Temple, and at one point I actually went back to the Knight Academy and checked the required dungeons to see if I misread.
I was looking for the hook beetle for so long that I was like, man, is it Ancient Cistern? Like,
Dude, I was just thinking of the people on the restream being like, "What is he doing?" Like,
yeah, that's
That was
man.
say that, yeah.
I'm glad that I wasn't the only one doing that. I was so concerned that I was gonna go into the sacred temple and then like nothing's gonna happen and I'm gonna have to go look at the, the little board again.
dude, that's like the most terrifying. Like, did I leave the stove on thought in rando? Like, did I literally somehow misread the required dungeons? Jesus. It's scary.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, there have been a couple times in some of the scenes I've done where I have like been like, did I misread the required dungeons? So,
Yeah, no,
it's-
that is terrifying. Like I have had times where like I think I just where like you just get nothing and then you just get so worried. I have actually had a seed where I misread the dungeon, so I think it was like Skyview. I think it was like a Skyview Fire Sanctuary seed, and then I did Sandship instead. And I was
That's so
so
bad.
confused because I was so confused why I couldn't find agency chart, so I just ended up doing like the trials, and since it wasn't not progressive, the trials were basically I just checked a random trial and I had the C chart, and then I just did Sanjip and I was so confused. I've had that happen before. It's probably the saddest thing to happen.
Well, I think that's about it for today.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of an annoying seed, but it was fun. I always enjoyed. Honestly, like seeds where you always end up like last location things where you have like less things open. Sometimes can be fun too because it's a little less overwhelming than having like a billion checks and having no idea where to go. So that can be nice sometimes, but yeah, it's a fun race. GG to you, Exto.
GG.
GG to everyone. We will add CalmDownSam soon. TM.
It's a riot in chat. Bring us collection.
Let's see. I don't think the next match is until like tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's gonna be Ricky of Kokery versus 64-bit Link. One of our awesome comms today. So everyone be sure to follow the comms, the runners, the trackers. This is a really fun match.
Yep.
And we
Ricky.
are... Oh yeah, Ricky is one of our restreamers, so that's also pretty cool. In the meantime, ZSR is actually done for the day. So we're going to go ahead and raid Zeldathon UK. They're doing like a charity run. So seems like fun. Thanks so much, everyone.
Yeah, shoutouts to the restreamers. Thank you to ZSR.
Yeah, no problem.
Alright.